Hello, hello, hello.
How are you today?
Good, man. How about you?
I think I got your memo to wear my blue shirt.
Yeah,
Didn't think about it. I'm doing good.
good.
Busy, busy.
Yeah, you just celebrated a birthday.
I did. I'm just as old as I was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was not just recent. I mean, it was this week. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So it's okay. It's all good.
yeah, no, birthdays are good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wise. I'm just 1 year wiser.
That's right.
There you go. So it's going to be an interesting a day today because I got some pretty interesting questions. I've been doing quite a few just calls with new people asking
Hmm.
me questions and just kind of going over and seeing what they are. So what I did is I kind of took the questions that I had gathered really over the past 4 days and stuck them in here because I thought, you know what, if one person is asking, I bet there are other people out there that are wondering about this. And so I thought this might be a really interesting questions to get into. So if you don't know what we're doing our monthly Q&A with Carter and myself. I'm Taylor, that's Carter. So we're just going to jump in here with a question. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So social seems to be getting so much harder to do, and
Mhm.
it doesn't seem to help with my business. So, is it still something we need to do? What do you think?
Well, I mean, is it getting harder? Absolutely. No question about it. The statistics show that. I mean, you remember back in the day, when Facebook was just brand new and advertising on Facebook and using social media for posting your things and making sure that your friends and customers all saw it. You could get engagements of 4 and 5%, really easy, and sometimes even up to 20% without just a whole lot of effort. These days, it's sub 1%, right? I mean, it's a point something percent,
Yeah.
and usually so low that you start to really wonder if it takes me 15 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes to put together content and post it, and only 0.09% or point 1% or whatever is going to actually see it. Is it really worth it? I think it's a very fair question. The fact is that there's just more people than ever on social media, but also the algorithms.
Mhm.
AI, Facebook's AI just knows how to keep us scrolling, keep that thumb moving, scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And so it's not going to show us content that, just because they're a friend of ours, if we haven't engaged with that friend's content recently or that business's content, then it's probably not going to show it to us because it knows that's not how you keep this guy scrolling. This guy keeps scrolling when you show him gun videos or when you show him, you know, um, jet ski videos or whatever. So, uh, that's the formula. That's the algorithm at work, and unfortunately, it's very hard to get content in front of people anymore. A very small fragment of your actual followers and actual friends will see anything that you post.
So I think there's a couple of things that you can do though that a lot of people don't realize that the way the algorithms work is also is dependent on if you're reaching out and following other people as well.
That's
So,
true.
a lot of people say, well, I'm putting content on. And I ask, well, are you actually going out and finding additional content, friending people, doing that? Because I will just tell you, I'm on Facebook quite a bit because of the podcast and because of the company. But personally, I'm just hardly never on Facebook. I personally don't like social media. I don't know if it's my age. I don't know what it is. I go look at my grandkids' pictures, whatever. But I just recently messaged a friend of mine from high school, and that person was like, "Wow, I didn't know, where you were. You haven't been on Facebook in forever." And I'm like, "Well, I'm actually on it all the time, but not personally." So that person didn't think I was on anymore because they were never seeing me in their feed because I wasn't doing anything on my feed, So that's another thing. If you just think you're just going to post content and never reach out and engage with anybody, yeah, you're probably not going to get a whole lot. So you have to remember that it's not just posting, it's actively working Facebook. And, we have people in our business that actively work Spark Marketers Facebook, or it probably wouldn't go anywhere either. It's up to me. But it's true. You have to work it. And that's just part of it. That's just part of it. But here's the thing about when somebody says, is it something that we need to do? So number one is, here's the way that I look at these things. If you have zero business, then Facebook's not going to go get you a whole bunch of business. If you have zero business, go do the things that are going to get you business like ASAP. Okay. So those things would be networking events, find people in your area, get business. Those may be networking with family and say, hey, I've started a new business, or hey, I'm having a really hard time. Anybody that needs blah, blah, blah. That's definitely it. A lot of times people think, well, I'll just get on Google. Well, if you don't have a website, then I would say go to Google Business Profile and create a Google Business Profile. Go to Bing and create a Bing Places. Go to all those things and create as much as you can to get immediate work. Okay? Because that's really what you're needing, is something that is immediate. But once you get big enough and you're in a lot of places, at that point, you really do need to expand into social, because the algorithms are picking up that you're on social networks. They're picking up all the different listings. They're picking up all these things. And so when your website starts working, it's working collectively with everything around the internet. So the more things that you are in, the more places you're listed in, the more social networks you're on, all those kind of things, that makes a difference. So, yeah, you kind of have to see where you are in your business. What are you doing? How's it working? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, we could probably draw the line and say, people who are on one side of the line are people who are not very social, just in general, as far as online sociability or social networking. And then on the other side of the line, the people that really are. And the people on the people who are using it naturally, the people who gravitate toward it and use it. And not just using it by like consuming content, but actually posting things and liking what others are posting and using it, to its fullest. I would say those business owners are naturally going to do better with social media strategies than people who aren't. So figure out which side of that line you're on, and decide whether or not you're the guy or person who needs to be doing that social media outreach or not. And then, if you're a really small company, it may be that if you're not very social, you just don't really look to that strategy yet. You may have to do that strategy once you're a little bit larger and can hire an agency or someone to go be social for you. Or find someone on your team who really is naturally social and give it to them. That's, I think the most realistic advice that I could give.
No, and I think you're really right. I think there are people that are just naturally drawn to it. And I'm a very social person. I just like doing it in person. I'm much more social in person than I am on a phone. I don't even like talking on the phone. It's just weird. And I talk on the phone almost all day long. And so, yeah, it's just it's just the differences in people, and it's not a right or wrong. But there are people in your business who, like you said, may be social, may be the very perfect person to actually take that over. And I think that's really, really important. So here's another one. Talking about social media.
Yeah.
Should we be doing TikTok? So here's my thing about TikTok. I'm not anti-TikTok or anti-Facebook or anti any of them. A lot of it is if you know who your market is, okay, is your market on TikTok? So people say, oh yeah, there's old people on TikTok. There's, mid-aged people, and there's a lot of young people on TikTok. Okay, that's fine. If you're doing something on TikTok where you're able to reach your audience, then yeah, be on TikTok. You know, but it's not really a should or would. It's, do you enjoy TikTok? You know, are you active on TikTok? If you're active on TikTok and not on Facebook, maybe you want to be on TikTok and not on Facebook. I mean, you know, there's no, I think there's this thing that we all think there's this big formula. You know, first thing you do is this, then the next thing you do is, I don't know what that was, but
Yeah, lost you there
maybe
for a
my
second.
internet's kind of wonky. Yeah. But we all like lists. Okay. We all want a list, you know, do A, do B, do C, do, you know, all the way down. And then you get to the end of it and poof, you have a finished puzzle and everything will be great from there. The problem with that is that's not the way business works. And there's no set list for everybody. I mean, we know people that have done fantastic with TV ads. And then other people in different markets, it's been a total bust. I know people that have had fantastic luck with God, I can't remember the post sign. You know, there was a sign you're going down the road and you see them.
Billboards.
Billboards. Yes, thank you. It's one of those things. You know, billboards. I'm getting old. I'm wise, but I'm still getting old. Okay, yeah. So, you know, had great luck with billboards, and other people said I wouldn't get another billboard for nothing. So, I mean, so you have to try things in your market. You have to try things in your audience, and so there's no one or two things that are just going to take you over the moon, and make it all good. The thing that I would tell you is be where people are looking. And what I do know is the vast majority of people look at search for what most home service businesses do. So you do need to have a website. You do need to be on Bing Places, Google Business Profile. You do need, you know, those things because that gives you a chance to be seen pretty quickly.
Yeah, bang for the buck. TikTok's pretty far down the list. I mean, in terms of like strategies to grow your business. Do you need to be on it? Are you looking at it? Well, again, how social are you? Because man, TikTok is it's very much a certain style of things that work well on that format, and so you've got to understand the formula. I mean, the format and how to create content that people consume on TikTok, the kind of content that they're expecting to see there and everything else. And so if you look around at TikTok and you say, yeah, I could create this kind of stuff, and you see a clear way of doing it to connect it to your business, I say try it for sure. But if you look at it and go, I don't get this, I don't even know what this is, what the heck, why does this exist? You know, if you're that person, yeah, I probably wouldn't mess with TikTok.
Well, I've toyed with, you know, Old Man Can't Dance channel, you know, just to put on some music and prove that old men really can't dance. But I haven't figured out how to marry that with Smart Marketer.
Yeah.
I just haven't figured out how to do those two things. Yeah. Yep.
And that's kind of my point. Yeah. It's tough to figure out how to connect it to a business purpose.
Exactly. So here's kind of in that same vein, I had a really lovely conversation with a chimney company down in Texas earlier this week. And, you know, one of the things that they said was, you know, I'm a one-person office staff. What are the most important things should I be doing in marketing that I can actually do during the busy season?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a really good question. What can I actually do that I have time to do that will make the most difference when I'm just a one-person person?
So the first thing that pops into my mind is you need to be looking into automation. Automation is something that if you set it up well, it'll take you 5% of the effort and it'll do 95% of the work. Okay. So if you're in a business, in an office setting where you're the only person, look for ways, especially around communication, customer communication with the people in the field. Figure out ways to use automation to just automate those routine messages that have to go out to customers and to techs in the field so that everybody stays on the same page. It's more like you're asking a great question, but perhaps a better question to ask, or the question to ask first, is what can I do to eliminate the things that are wasting my time as a one person in the office situation, right? Like, how do I make myself, do 5 times as much work without having to, put in 5 times the effort? And if you can figure out how to do that, and there's some great ways to do it, using automation and artificial intelligence, then you're a long way to, growing the business for quite a while before you need to go hire a whole bunch of people in the office, and being able to stay on top of a system that does a lot of stuff for you automatically.
I think that's really good. And my advice was always do what brings in money first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my deal. And I know you deal in automation and time, and I think that's great. And I wish I had added that to this conversation. I didn't. So just letting you know.
Well,
my deal is, keep doing the things that bring in the money first, because that's the way you grow as a business, and that's the way you stay healthy as a business.
Yeah. And communication with customers is absolutely one of those ways that you keep the wheels on the bus. I mean, it's, when you're not communicating with customers and you start earning bad reviews, if you're a little bitty business, then it's lights out pretty soon. So, making sure that you're doing an excellent job communicating with customers, using automation to do that more efficiently so that you can grow faster, serve more people in the door, coming in the door, and still staying on top of everything with world-class communication. That makes you money.
Yeah. No, I agree. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. I talked to a plumber this week that was like, I totally lost the location because we could not get it out of suspension. And what they didn't know is that you have to provide Google a ton of paperwork in order to get out of suspension for Google Business Profile. There's a way you do it. I mean, we've even gotten to where when we take on a new client, the first thing that we do is we ask for business license, all of his rental agreements, or her rental agreements. I mean, there's a litany of things that we're asking for that we keep, that we're ready, because we know when it gets suspended, the quicker that we can get all that paperwork in and make that, get that out of suspension and back, the better. So there's a ton of stuff like that you have to have. So just know Google right now in the Google Business Profile, and I totally understand this. People get mad at Google, but let me tell you, who you should be getting mad at are all the bad actors that don't do the Google Business Profiles correctly. Those are the people you should be getting pissed as all get out at, because they're the ones that have ruined it for most everybody else, because Google now no longer trusts anybody because they've been burned so much. It's the same thing with reviews, which brings me to this one. I just lost more reviews on Google Business Profile. Why do they keep doing that? Well, they keep doing that because there's so many fake reviews. And it's not just on Google Business Profile. For those clients that have Google, the local service ads, the Google LSAs, they've stopped any anonymous reviews because they have such a problem on people getting on that platform and leaving horrendous reviews that never even been serviced. So, when people do these kinds of things, the companies, they're trying to clean it up. And I give them, and I know they're doing it with algorithms, and people say, I can't talk to a person and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you guys, they're just trying to make it clean so that the people that do it right and play by the rules are actually the ones that are benefiting from what they're trying to do. I give them, I give them some credibility for that. I mean, we don't like it. We have to deal with it. Yes, but then there's reasons for it.
Yeah, it's if you're trying to strain the, if you've got invasive species in your pond and you're trying to get the bad species out so you can, just let the good fish, propagate and stay in there so you can enjoy your fishing. You're gonna kill some good fish on the way, right? You're trying to get those bad ones out because um, you just can't. There's not anything you can do to control the bad ones that might not also affect a few good ones. And that's the same with online. I mean, Google has to be the police for online information in the systems that they've built and invited people to be a part of for free. And because of people abusing it and doing all of that stuff, Google has to try to clean up the pond. And it's unfortunate, but it does happen that real businesses who are not doing anything wrong sometimes get caught in the crosshairs, which is why it's important to work with an agency like ours that has a hotline kind of the ability to get those issues addressed and get to the front of the line faster, because otherwise, it can take. I can't imagine that at the very beginning of busy season, your Google business profile goes down and you can't get it up the entirety of the season. What that could do to a small business.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that that you're following the guidelines, but also I recommend working with someone that can do it for you, and do it the right way, and have access to Google's employees and through the channels that are provided for agencies like ours to be able to try to make those things more efficient and faster.
No, I agree with you. And I didn't put this in here, but I did have somebody ask me about Bing Places earlier this week as well. Just talking about, why doesn't Bing have the same kind of place that you can go in and give a company a review in Bing like they do in Google? Well, Bing relies on third party. So Bing pulls mostly from Facebook and or Yelp. And I think one of the reasons that they've done that is because they've seen all the hassles that Google's gone through. Personally, who wants to do that?
Yeah. You think, well, let's just make this cool feature and people can click 5 stars and choose choose a star rating for a company and leave a text comment. Won't that be great? And what they've essentially created is a beast of a program that takes literally thousands of employees to monitor, review, filter, moderate, and ensure that the system is as clean and working properly as possible. It's a monster of a deal.
Yeah, no, I get it. And then this last question, we're gonna change directions again. With all the talk about chat GPT, I did that backwards, didn't I? I said GPT chat. I've read much about this over the last month. It's crazy. Is anything really going to change?
Oh my gosh. It's easier to ask the question, what won't you
start? Before you start, this was the question was about ChatGPT, but honestly, it's not really about ChatGPT. It's about AI or artificial intelligence. The ChatGPT is a generative AI that has to do with the written word. Okay. So just know it's trained, it's a LLM, it's a linguistics model. So it's trained on language. So that's just one type of AI. So do I think there's a whole lot going to change because of this one type of AI? The answer to me is, yeah, probably not, but it's everything together. So I want you to address that, Carter. When you talk about not just ChatGPT, but when you're talking about everything that we've seen coming down the pike on AI, is anything really going to change?
Yeah, ChatGPT is, I give it this analogy, right? Some, hundreds of thousands of years ago, some caveman sat there chipping away at this rock and created a circle with a hole in the middle and called it a wheel. And it was the greatest invention in the world. It can see its real potential, right? It's like, a wheel, what does this do? What's the point? But you take that wheel and you connect it to another wheel on an axle, and suddenly you're starting to see potential. You're starting to see what's really going on. Add a wagon to that, or add a something to carry things in, and suddenly, now you're starting to really change the world. So ChatGPT is a wheel, right? It's a very important invention, a very important tool that will have the potential of changing the world in ways that we can't even foresee. But it's how ChatGPT as a wheel is going to be hooked up to other things and incorporated into other systems to create the real advantages that that we're not seeing quite yet. So is it cool to go into the OpenAI website and use ChatGPT just as a standalone where you prompt it and it gives you stuff back? Yeah, pretty cool and pretty useful. I mean, I can use it, Taylor can use it. Heck, my mom could probably use it, sit down and figure out how to use that. But, is it in its limited use case, just as it is, it's only got so much utility, and then there's not much else that you can imagine it really doing for you. But the engine of it, the wheel behind it that was created to be able to do some of the things that it does, when it's connected to other things, when it's connected and given agency, when it's given the ability to actually act and do things for you based on that model, then it starts to really become something that is going to change everything. And I mean, I struggle to think of a single area of modern society and modern life that won't be touched or changed in some way by artificial intelligence, and ChatGPT being one, and the large language models and models like it that will be a part of those technologies that change everything.
Yeah, and I think the thing that has kind of I don't know if the word is shaken me, or I mean, I'm not fearing it, but there's some things that I'm kind of, I think maybe it's kind of like, whoa, when you hear something and you go, whoa. So probably in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've listened to probably 5 or 6 webinars on just AI, what's coming down the pike, different things, whatever. And there's 3 guys that are considered really experts in the field. All 3 of them have mentioned something like this, not word for word, but yeah, we tried XYZ tool and it just wasn't quite there yet. And I figured, yeah, maybe there a year, 18 months. Well, we're using it right now. 3 months later, we're using it, like crazy. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, because these are the guys that supposedly know, the flow and the pacing and all that. And they're all shocked that it's coming as quickly as it is, and that things are starting to come together, and that it's getting as good. I mean, one of them even said in the next year, he thinks that you'll be able to create a Hollywood quality movie with AI.
Yeah, just sit down and prompt it, or a series of prompts. But yeah.
Just, prompt it, write a script, throw it in there and have it create the movie.
Not even write the script, just give it an idea and let it write the script.
I mean, it's crazy.
Create the characters,
So I understand why the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild, I mean, they're shook by this. But here's the 2 industries that surprised me the most was medicine was the first one, and education. So some of the things that they're looking at with medicine and education are really interesting things. So yeah, is it going to change? I think it's going to change a lot of things. Will it change home service businesses? I don't think it's going to change necessarily the way you do business, but it sure may change how you get your business. How's that?
Yeah, no, the marketing component of a business is going to radically look different. I mean, the way you get clients today versus the way you get it 18 to 24 months from now, I fully expect to be, and speaking as a marketing, owner of a marketing company, we see this, handwriting on the wall. We know it's coming, and we know it's going to look radically different for our customers, and therefore, because of that, it's going to look radically different for us as well. So looking to stay ahead of that and apace with all of the changes that are coming, and trying to utilize and leverage these technologies, these wheels, if you will, as quickly as possible, because it truly is amazing. You look at the technology by itself, and you just can't imagine the difference between GPT 3.5 and 4. Just a 0.5 difference, not even a full version different. And the difference was exponential. I mean, in terms of the capabilities of it, the accuracy of it, the efficiency of it, and all of those things. And they're already saying GPT-5 is going to be leaps and bounds ahead of that. So the curve is just, it's so exponential, it's ridiculous. And, I could say a lot more about it, but essentially, I really do think it's going to change everything.
Yeah, I do too. It may not, I don't know the time frame, but I think there's a lot going to change. But before we go on, I want to say happy birthday to Mark.
Hey,
Mark.
Happy birthday, Mark.
You're older than me, or at least by a couple of days. Hopefully you're older than me. You may not be. I don't know, but happy birthday. So, guys, that's it for this week. Thanks for Mark and Chuck for being here and giving us a thumbs up. If you guys are here and you can give us a heart or a thumbs up, that would be great. Glad you all are all here. Spark Live is also released as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, or your favorite player. And I'm actually, I think probably more people get us on as a podcast these days, as they're running around. Yeah. So that's been awesome. So really do appreciate that. Here's Mark. Maybe. I know how that goes. Anyway, guys, next week, I will not be here, but Carter will be here, and we'll be going through the 3 best ways to encourage customers to leave reviews. So I think this is really important. There's been a few things that have happened in just asking for reviews and when to ask and all that they've found out recently that's been real interesting. So it's going to be a great, interesting new update to the 3 best ways to encourage customers to leave reviews. Can't wait to see you then. Or, well, I'm going to let Carter see you then. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm not going to see you then. So. But I'll catch it on the flip side. How's that?
Sounds good. I'll see you next week then.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.